Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here, and get ready for Gnosis. Well, first of all, I've got an interesting email today I want to cover, but I neglect to state to people that I'm the #1 radionic expert on the planet, and off for that matter, because my contacts tell me there ain't no radionics in space. So, I've been doing this for 50 years, as you can tell from this channel in particular. I have most units I've worked with, I've researched them, I've talked to people, etc. We are finally producing here. We've had some problems. We're in the middle of a move. We've had some infiltrators who've caused problems, as usual. When you're the man, they don't want you spreading stuff. So, the bottom line is that no one else even comes close to my expertise. People may know something more about a particular machine. I have not. Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here, and get ready for Gnosis. Well, first of all, I've got an interesting email today I want to cover, but I neglect to state to people that I'm the #1 radionic expert on the planet, and off for that matter, because my contacts tell me there ain't no radionics in space. So, I've been doing this for 50 years, as you can tell from this channel in particular. I have most units I've worked with, I've researched them, I've talked to people, etc. We are finally producing here. We've had some problems. We're in the middle of a move. We've had some infiltrators who've caused problems, as usual. When you're the man, they don't want you spreading stuff. So, the bottom line is that no one else even comes close to my expertise. People may know something more about a particular machine. I have not worked with the SE5, so I don't know that much about it other than what goes behind it. Now, you have to talk to the manufacturer and find out what can it do. Are they going to, if they're going to make a lot of claims of what this stuff does, then they better give you really good teaching. They better be able to give you a refund, etc. For those types of products. None of these people want to say what their products do, and I always find that problematical. But, there are legalities we all have to follow. But first of all, as you said, you've got to talk to people and find out, do they meet the needs of what you're doing? But there's a real problem with true radionic units and a lot of things that people want to do. They're very technical instruments, and you need skills to use them. Now, people won't tell you that. Now, we're trying to make in our new line of equipment as easy as possible. Radionics tends to boil down to, particularly when you're broadcasting, this is thought form information. Now, thought form means some sort of psychic, subtle energy informational field that you create yourself and that someone else creates using some sort of rate card like what we produce, or a rate or a number that connects to that energy. So does everybody get this? It talks about the entire understanding, and this is, I don't know if it's complicated or not, but there really is alternative science, meaning this is how things work in the alternative universe. There is a certain amount of this which is basically backed by and similar to regular science, who basically has stolen everything from the alternative practitioners in the past. Basically, when we hear about quantum physics, etc., well, this is nothing more than ancient science, which was very, very advanced compared to the physicality that science has grabbed onto today. So the whole idea is this based in that, and there is realities to it. When people start breaking this, what are they doing? So there are people who have been selling instruments for years and have their followings. Hey, great. But the point is that there really is nothing being stated by them of what they can do in any area. They're not producing wealth. They're not producing great crops. All of this stuff seems to be hidden. Now, there's all of this going on, but nobody's going to pop their head up and state this. And, this is the great catch-22. So, should you? Well, probably not. On the other hand, you got people who are going public, making all sorts of dangerous claims about their machines, particularly the people putting out frequency machines in these day and age that are claiming that they do all this stuff. Well, we don't know what they do. Now, radionics and frequency machines, which put out Hertzian frequencies, are completely different. I have a lecture on that. Following the Bob Beck protocol is something I highly recommend, and we're going to be coming out with frequency machines ourselves in the future, but what's being sold out there right now by the most popular people are a bunch of junk, and they're making outrageous claims. So if you're foolish enough to go with them, well, you're going to get what you get, and of course they're suckering a lot of people. And they are combining radionics, which makes no sense at all. Their circuit board crap that is made by these people doesn't work. All of this doesn't work. Their frequency machines are in great doubt. So do not jump on their bandwagon. Follow somebody who is using Bob Beck's protocols, which have been proven by him for many years, and there are great machines out there built by a lot of people. They're not being built by the person you're seeing out there all the time, which I won't name right at this moment, but probably in the future. I've already covered their crap units, and people should stay away from that. Now, there's a big difference. Now, radionics is not Hertzian frequencies. I've talked about this. If you don't get it, you don't get it in general. Now, in terms of broadcasting with the radionic unit, the way these things were made in the past and used was not to be user-friendly. You went to somebody like Ruth Drown, the famous radionic practitioner, and she would sell you a machine. That machine, she then would give you rates or numbers to put on the dials for your particular problem. Now, where does that come in that you're doing anything? Doesn't come in at all. You didn't get your own rates. Things started to come from that in terms of rate books, where they started to sell rate books so you could use the machines, where you would look up a particular problem, headache, and you'd put headache in. Now, a lot of this wasn't done that way. These were general rates and done to stimulate sales. How much of that was done actually is unknown. But these were kind of pseudo-doctors. They were chiropractors, etc., and you would go to them and get a rate. And this would be your vibrational energy rate based in a machine. You got to remember, no radionic machine works on energies per se that are perceptible. They're working on what you could say are these cosmic type rates combined that you connect to with your psychic power that's put into a machine and then properly amplified with proper amps and broadcasts. If you don't have the proper amplifiers, it doesn't work. Now, people are going around saying you can get your own rates and everything else. Getting your own rates is very difficult. I heard one absurd idiot say, "Oh, my 5-year-old kid is able to tune this." Well, how do you even know? Tuning it to what? And getting what results? Well, the point is, this is just all bogus nonsense put out there by a lot of really bad people who are directly and indirectly even connected to Satanism. And don't hide the fact. Now, if you think that's okay with you, well, that's your problem. But the point is that they're bad science people. They build garbage, and it is not the reality of radionics that you can go out there and analyze and tune. Analyzations of finding out what a problem is, tuning into a person, is a difficult process of tuning. This requires a great level of sensitivity. Now, I just got an email from someone that says that he can't do any kind of dowsing. Well, you can't do any kind of radionics other than broadcasting. Now, the units that we make that have actual rate cards, you don't need to tune. You take the card for whatever you want, protection, prosperity, whatever, and we expect to have hundreds of these in the future. Right now, we are developing these and going through some changes, so we hope to have these out within a few months. You pop them in the machine with a photograph, the energy goes to the proper tube amplification, out to the broadcaster, and then it is sent to the target through subtle energy physics. It's connecting at this high level. It's not connecting at what is considered a physical level. It's connecting at an energetic level, which regular science doesn't believe in. So understand that this is science that is so far advanced nobody gets it, and is considered to be a joke, quack science, whatever you want to call it. Like everything that has been used in this society has been. But we need to find out how all this stuff works, and these things have lots of people using it in over the last 50 to 100 years now almost, who have gotten some good results with it. So is it something to be trashed? Well, what do we have as an alternative? We don't have anything as an alternative except the dirt nap. We have the graveyard to go to. So the whole idea is that these types of technologies that are based on higher self, psychic energies, and some unknown quotient out there is something everybody should be working with. It's taking personal responsibility in generating these energies. There's been a lot of proof in the past, and it used to be a big thing in the late 70s, that people were healing themselves of cancer by just visualizing the cancer in their body and seeing it destroyed, and this has been proven to be a fact. Now, it doesn't work all the time. What does work all the time? But this technology, and doing it at a high level, which is getting into analyzing what's the problem here, what subtle energy is causing a problem here, what do you need to tune in to correct that, and so forth. Well, this has to be done by an expert. You have to train yourself. If you can't use pendulums, you are not going to use radionics. So that's where you start out. And our training program takes you from the beginning through the processes to do this. Now, I keep saying over and over again, because that's the key to it, I don't want to do that. I just want to get in a race car and put my foot to the ground and go 100 miles an hour and crash. Yeah, well, that's what you're going to do. The point is you have to learn to control your mind. You have to learn to visualize, and you have to do what's considered mind gym exercises to stimulate those dead areas in your consciousness that you haven't used, because you're using high consciousness technology here. Part of that is being able to dowse. If you can't dowse, you can't do so many things in alternative science. Forget it. Because this is the giant machine you're using, which is yourself, which has billions of sensors and, hundreds of miles, thousands of miles of nerves and everything that sense things. Now you have to take the toxic mind out of this so you get proper results. But it all comes down to using a pendulum to get this information. And if you can't do it or don't know how, well, you're not going to be able to tune these. Can you broadcast? Well, with our systems, you can broadcast. If you have a particular, quote, rate book, or the numbers you put in your machine that are supposed to do whatever, you can then use it. But you're still probably not going to get the best results of it because you're not a tuned machine. Plain and simple. You have to tune yourself. You have to get in touch with the sensitivities that are higher self and not crude. Now, when you get into frequency devices like Bob Beck talks about that are using Hertzian frequencies, which are measurable, well, you just tune in what he tells you to do, and they're putting physical energies in you. That's not what radionics is. Radionics does not produce a physical energy. It never has and never will. They don't put anything out. Now, people don't like this. One ignoramus possessed woman said, I don't feel it. I feel it from the frequencies. Of course you feel it from the frequencies. That's what the difference is. And it's a great, great difference. And they work completely different. One is a physical item. It's putting physical Hertzian frequencies, which are measurable by meters, compared to a very higher subtle energy physics. Apples and oranges. Subtle energy physics works on energy fields, not on the physical. And it's important to understand that. And there's a radical difference in understanding subtle energy physics and understanding regular physics, which is still wrong, but it's really, you're talking about dealing with the regular physics is dealing with the material, the very easily measured, even though they keep moving away from that because there's nothing to be found there. Now they're getting into waves and frequencies. Oh, yeah, you mean energies, yeah. Well, the whole idea is that that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about energies, and these can be measured by an expert who has the sensitivity and the technologies to do it, because it's not just you feeling something. That has to be transferred into some sort of tool that gives you a measurable result, whether that's a pendulum or many other things. So, if you're going to dial your own rates in, if you're going to do what's called analyzing of informational energetic fields, well, you have to be able to do these sensings, and this requires training. And nobody wants to do that. People seem to want to invest thousands of dollars in machines that they're not going to be able to work right. They don't seem to go to manufacturers and say, hey, what is this going to do? How are you going to train me? Some give you courses, some don't. Most of them that use certain machines do have, if they're credible, have a excellent training course, and this should include written and visual. There's no reason why you don't. There should be videos of using a particular equipment. Now, I think most companies that are credible have this. If they don't, then there's a problem. But they should have this even beyond the written at this time and age. and they should be helping you consistently, or don't go with companies like that. Can you email somebody and get a response? Can they help you? Do they have these video trainings? Well, that's the first thing that you look at. Now, most people give very poor service, and this is very alien to most people. Now, the other thing is, well, we're going to teach you, and you're going to do the rubbing technique, the stick plate, as it's commonly called, which uses a kind of a soft rubbing technique. Now, a lot of people claim that this is easily done, that you can get this stick, which is basically you're turning a dial with your left hand, and you're moving your finger across a rectangle. It's a rectangle, and you're going back and forth on it while you're turning the dial. And what's supposed to happen is you feel a slight stick on that. That's why it's called a stick plate. Now, generally, these have been made from different materials. We have moved away from using plastic because it's kind of not a conductor, even though this energy in the bigger field is not a conducted energy, but there is a slight component to that. But in general, most stick plates were made out of metal that were covered with some sort of rubber. And or they're made into plastic now. Some even used wood to do this. But you're rubbing it, and then you're supposed to feel a stick, meaning you feel a drag, and this means you've reached the right number. Well, this is something I've never liked, and I don't like the impreciseness of it. Was it a stick? Was it a half a stick? Did your finger stop completely, or did you feel kind of a grab there? And then you go back, do you feel a grab in the same spot? Well, when you're using a pendulum, you are setting the dial at a specific number. And when it swings clockwise, meaning yes, you know exactly. If it isn't the right number, it doesn't swing at all. That's the system I teach. It doesn't swing no, it just does, it sits there. This way you don't waste time with yes and no on every number. But if you have done your pendulum work properly, it's very detectable this is a clockwise spin. So there's no question whether it was a stick or not. So I'm not in favor of that stick system that's been used, but people have done the stick system because they have devices that may have 60 or 70 dials on it. So how are you going to possibly use pendulums when you have to go through so many dials? So people are doing this quickie, fast food dialing, which gives you bad results, bad quality food. So the whole idea is that that's not the way to do it, no matter what someone tells you. You want to use a pendulum. You want to know exactly. Take the extra time. You don't need huge amounts of dials unless you have a very specialized machine or unless you're a professional, and these should be broken down properly as well. Now, being a professional means that you can tune it, but generally, once you tune past 9 dials, your actually error rate is huge. You're just too tired after that. You're not getting good rates. And some people have pushed it, and I had machines at 12 dials at one time. Well, it's too many. You don't need that, and I'm not sure that makes much sense. So you have to understand how to tune machines. And the problem is that nobody knows anything. People are selling stuff, and they're selling bad stuff, and there's lots of machines out there that are not amplified properly. And, you're just going to get a medium machine that way. We sell symbolic boxes, and, they're okay. For the average person, they're going to give you a nice boost for the money. But they're not for serious problems. You want power, you need an amplified and broadcasting unit. And then you got, junk in, junk out. You got to put in the rate cards that stimulate those energies. Simple as that. Not complicated. So when all of that is put together there, that makes things in a particular fashion to work correctly. But nobody knows this, and they're being told a bunch of stuff. So the point is, tuning is not easy. It's not easy to analyze someone, and people that say this, I'd like to see their results. And I don't want to hear it from your buddy, your pal, either. We need to have things that are provable. And this is something nobody wants to do because of the fact of they don't really can prove anything. It's all fantasy. So, if you use these things as psychic tuners alone, well, you're going to get some results from it to a degree. But, psychic tuning also requires the focusing of the consciousness and the building of certain energies, which we teach you how to do in our courses. And this is critical. But analyzing requires that. Analyze requires you to be centered. You have to do occult gym practices. You have to learn how to visualize. Well, nobody wants to do that. If you think you're going to just tune a machine, well, you're sadly mistaken. It doesn't work. Plain and simple. People claiming things that they can't back up is really evil. People, in some cases, are betting their life on these things because they don't have other alternatives. I understand that, but living in a delusion doesn't help you. Giving wealth to liars and cheats don't help you. The radionic industry is full of liars, cheats, and deceivers and hardcore Satanists, as I've been telling you. And they advertise it. You'll see videos on YouTube with them having their satanic buddies there. They've announced they're Satanists. They're involved in this field. They are pouring out negative energy, which at this particular time is encompassing the earth. So it's causing all sorts of problems. But if these are thought forms, they're certainly not loving, healing thought forms, which is what goes into healing, or prosperity. These are all base level scum. So these are all the problems you run into. So you better be involved with the right people. And very few people are. They support losers and liars and don't go to a source that knows. They don't support the technologies that work. They support garbage that is put out by these deceivers and liars. And if you do, when you know better, and you should know better, well, then you get what you deserve. And this technology with negative energy in it will destroy your life. So remember, you're playing a dangerous game. You're empowering evil people, and you're going to get what you get. And to a large extent, you're going to get what you deserve. Here, an organization like this presents all this great technology and offers it, and there is a minimal of support for it. Well, that's your problem. Well, I just, as a general rule, is doing okay. You are supporting and making wealthy evil people who are destroying this world. But what's new? That's what this whole society goes. You want a quick, easy solution to every single problem. It doesn't exist. And when somebody tells you that and you buy into it living in a dream world, the only thing that happens is you suffer longer and greater and have empty pockets while these evil people prosper. So understand that that's the way radionics works. And it takes training, time, and you have to use the right technology. These people are not using any of the right technology. None of them have proper amplification or broadcast capacities. They have nothing. If you think a few empty dials with wires connected to them are going to make your dreams come true, well, it doesn't work like that. And if you expect to do intricate analyzing work and coming up with your own rates, well, this is going to take practice, and it's never been any different. So there is no easy way. And there are people out there still perpetrating this fantasy that their stuff does everything. Well, I'm afraid it doesn't, and everybody's life is very different. So you may have a series of your own particular biophysical problems. You're very different than everybody else. And this is the case. Will just a giant bucket of water put out your personal fire? Well, it may help a little bit, but most likely it isn't going to get the results that you need. So stop searching for fantasies and following liars and paying them thousands of dollars that you're just going to get burned from. Follow the people who know what's going on and who will be there to assist you. And no matter what it is, there should be some sort of proper assistance. Can you call that person on the phone? Will they answer your emails in a reasonable period of time? How does all that work? So you've got to be careful with that. And I frankly doubt that anybody's going to assist you past that. They want to sell you junk and walk away. That's what they all do. They should be there to assist you through this process. And they ought to be telling you that, this is not a slam dunk, people. This is a great assist in your life. And as I always said, this is always edge technology. It gives you the edge over the rest of stupid mankind. This is not make technology where you tune a number in and you're rich, you're cured. It doesn't work like that. It gives you the edge. It helps you. It could help you in the fact of assisting you to find the answers you're looking at instead of creating the answers that you want. It's all part of the process. Anyone that tells you different is a liar, and let's see it. Let's see the results of these people that claim all this happens. Well, I've done amazing things in my life from absolutely nothing. Not only absolutely nothing, my entire history goes back to people trying to prevent me from doing things. Yet I continue to prosper and move ahead. And we could do leaps and bounds more, but there is no professional radionic group of people doing anything. The associations that I know of don't seem to do much of anything. They don't have anything. You can't go there. They have no facilities. They've been around for 50 years and have done absolutely nothing. Now, whether their value is or not is, well, it's a small group of people that aren't too coordinated in doing things. They're also connected to other businesses and other things, and they're not too interested. But the bottom line is they have very little to show for their work and very little to announce. Now, it is legal in the UK, yet the bottom line in the UK is the fact that nobody wants to go out and state they're doing anything except for some frauds that are coming out now trying to cure people with apparently the radionic people won't do it and are afraid to do it and afraid to make any statements. Really pathetic with the few that I've talked to. So the whole idea is they're not doing anything and they won't in the future. But they're not offering anything special. They claim things that are just comical in their nature, and they don't work. So get with the people that know what's going on. Don't fall for fools. We will be coming out with frequency units fairly soon, but they're out there. Look for anything that's Bob Beck based, and don't look for people who are telling you lies out of the UK who are trying to sell you garbage. This company is known for their garbage. Their radionic background is a joke, and they put out crap. So don't get suckered into these types of things. And remember, this is a skill. You just don't dial in something coming off the street reading comic books and eating burgers, and then all of a sudden you're a fantastic radionic practitioner. That's complete nonsense. If you're not willing to train yourself properly, if you're not willing to learn how to douse and sense subtle energies, you don't have a chance at all in being able to analyze and get your own rates. Now, broadcasting is something else. A good broadcasting unit, like we produce right now, works for everybody. But the more you sense or able to sense the energies around you, the greater results you're going to get. So hopefully this is clear, people. I always get these things, and the first thing is people don't read a lot. They don't want to follow systems. They don't want to train themselves. They don't want to do anything other than here is it, buy it, and that's it. So, and that's what most businesses do. And the fact is that this is not helping you if you're going to expect higher levels of manifestation in any area of your life. So get the facts, know what's going on, and don't be tricked by this very dangerous area called radionics that is infected with a bunch of crooks, criminals, and Satanists. That's who you're dealing with. It's about time you wake up. But that's who you've always been dealing with, people. But you've refused to do anything about it. And not only refused, you basically opened your pockets up and supported people who are at the lowest possible level of evolution. And you continue to do it. It's pretty sad. So get the facts from someone who knows.